Is it clear so far what we've done? Then go to File and open a new file. Okay, this is the normal procedure. Call it the Python file. And then save it as week 3 and your name if you want. I have quite a bit, so I'll say week 3 version 2 for me, or version 3. And save. Okay, now make a note. To do this problem, we need some external packages.
Library.
Not library packages. Library is like a collection of packages, but we'll need one package. It'll be called Pandas. Very important package, Pandas. We need an external package, Python package, which is called Pandas. Okay, so step 1, we need 2 packages. One will be called Pandas and the other one will be called OpenPyXL. Write down OpenPyXL. Okay, so the first thing will be to install Pandas, because most computers may not have it. So you'll have to install Pandas first. So for that, what you do is you click on the top here and go to Terminal. Once again, click here and go to Terminal and say New Terminal. So at the bottom here, or you'll see another window if you have enough space. And this is what you type. You say PIP space install Pandas.
But it should be in the terminal of the folder.
It'll be in the terminal.
Of the folder.
No, the new terminal should open up, but here it's not opening for some reason. Okay, and click enter. So look at that, it'll start downloading the required packages. Did that make sense? Do it later on. Just take notes now, we'll do it. PIP install Pandas. And similarly, you install OpenPyXL. So can somebody help me? How do I install OpenPyXL? Asad Ali, how do I install OpenPyXL? We just did it. Who wants to do it? Yeah, say it. You say PIP install OpenPyXL. Yeah, so you say this in the terminal and press enter. This will also IP. Let's do it again. Terminal, new terminal, PIP install OpenPyXL. Enter. Yeah. Yeah, so now we have two packages, Pandas and OpenPy So then come to your file and start typing. Step one will be to import the packages. So you first installed it and now you import it in your file. Who remembers?
Can you upload the notes later, if that's possible?
We don't have notes for this. We only have a video because this is,
Okay.
I've made a completely new assignment for this class. So we don't have notes for this. We just have the video. I'll put the code if you want. I have the code. How do you import a package? Who remembers? We did modules. You can start with from, but we want to import the entire thing from the modules class, if anyone remembers. All right, so all you have to say is import pandas. And you always import pandas as PD.
But it's not wrong if we don't do that, right?
It's not wrong, but then when you have to use it, you'll have to keep typing pandas, pandas. So PD is good. This is the normal convention, yeah? Import pandas as PD.
It will not be wrong if we, for a reason, name it.
Yeah, yeah. But this is the normal convention for pandas. Okay, and also import OpenPy Excel. You don't need the name for this because it just needs to be in the code for input output. It'll automatically will pick it up. Okay, now task number one will be bring the ambulance file inside the code. The ambulance data file that we downloaded, we want to bring it inside the code. And remember, we have to do this problem as an object-oriented program. So we'll have to do classes and objects like we did last week. So make a note, the final has to be in terms of classes and objects because that is the main aim for this class, to learn classes and objects. The next thing should be define a class, call it ambulance. So now how do you define a class? Who remembers? No, hold on, let somebody else try. Krish, how do you define a class? Krish. You remember? Hold on. Who's talking? Yeah, what did he say? Not equal to? Yeah, that's Constantine Ostra. Yeah.
I think you df.
No, that's a method inside a class. All you do is, yeah, Josh. All you say is class ambulance and put a colon and press enter. Okay, now the steps to bring in the file. So write down the steps now to bring in the file. We defined a class. Now we bring in the file. Okay, the first thing you do is define the constructor. Bring the file now into the program. We defined a class. Now we bring in the file. Okay, so you say DEF. How do you define a constructor? Somebody help me. Hold on. Benjamin, how do you define a constructor? Who wants to do it? Yeah.
You do with double, not what's it called?
So double underscore,
Yeah, in it,
and you say in it
and again double underscore.
and double underscore, and open a bracket.
Yeah.
What is the first thing you write inside a constructor? So make a note. You always say self and a comma. And then we define the variable we are going to use. So for this problem, the variable will be called data underscore frame. It means the data that we have, we'll save it in a data frame. And so we can use it in the code. The only thing is you say equals none. So it means for now it's empty. Put a colon. This is how the final program needs to look. So this is very important, okay? And you press enter. Okay, then you say self. So write this down. You say self.data equals data underscore frame. And then you use the if command. So you say if, write this down, I'll explain. So you say if data underscore frame is not none, else pd dot data frame, like that. So write this code down. So you say self dot data equals data underscore frame. And then you say if data underscore frame is not none, if it means if it's not empty, then bring your data into the data frame. I'll give you this code, okay? So what you have to do is copy and paste this and just make the necessary changes for the final. Okay, so I'll give you the code. Okay, this should be the first thing. And then you define, so this will make the data frame, okay? Step one, this one made the data frame. Step two, save the ambulance data into the data frame now. So write down step two will be called load the data. So you made the data frame, now you load the data frame. That's right. Here we made the data frame. In step two, we load the data into the data frame. Open a bracket. You will say a self, comma, file path. We'll see what it means when we run the program. Okay, for now, just write down, you'll say self, comma, file path. And then you'll say self.data equals pd dot read underscore Excel. Open a bracket. And in here you say file underscore path. This will be your second step. What this will do is it will take your file path and put it inside self.data. One last thing, you'll have to say def underscore underscore str underscore underscore. Say self. And for this function, you'll have to say return str self.data dot head. Did we learn dot head before? So write down dot head. What it does is it prints the first 5 rows of your data frame. So write down dot head prints the first 5 rows of your data frame.
We should what?
Dot head will print the first 5 rows of your data frame.
Only the first one.
Only the first 5 rows. This is just to check. This is just to check if you got the data correct.
Okay, you said the first 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
first 5. Okay, so once again, you need these 3 things to bring the data into the code. So write down these 3 things are needed to bring the data into the code. And I will give you this code. Okay, so what you'll have to do is copy and paste this on your final exam and just do the needed changes, because everything will not look the same. I may tell you make a class called acute ambulance, so you'll have to change that. Okay, or emergency ambulance. So you cannot do the same thing. Just little changes here and there. Yeah. We need these 3 things to bring the data into the code. Okay, so now look at the ambulance file. Okay, where are we? Here. All right, this is the ambulance data. Look at this. This is the actual ambulance data, okay, of NHS. You can get this online. Okay, so the first thing you have is the region in the country. Then all of them are ambulance data. So it says ambulance data. And there is something called as a trust code. So if it's London, the code is RRU. If it's Northeast, the code is, so just to have a short form, this is the name of the trust, London Ambulance Trust. This is the name of the Northeast Ambulance Trust. And this is called the metric. So now just take a look here. This is called the metric. So it means in London, the average response time in the first quarter was 30 minutes. Does that make sense? Do you understand the file? So just like that, there are different metrics. So this is percentage of ambulance patient brought to the emergency department. And it says in London, it was 50%. So it means every person they see, the second person is brought to the emergency department. And we'll have to work on this file and make it look better. Does that make sense? So this file will now come inside the code. So let's see how to see it now. So step 2, how to see the file inside the code. Okay, let's make this small. Okay, so come out of the class and create an object of the class. So step 2 is create object. All right, who remembers how to create an object? We did this last week. Anyone? How do you create an object? Okay, so write down, if you don't remember, you give a name to the object. So let's call it ambulance underscore data equals, and you write down the name of the class with open and close brackets. So when you do the exam, you may have to say acute underscore data. Acute means the serious injuries. Make sense? Okay, and then what you'll have to do is use the object. So you'll have to say ambulance underscore data dot bring in the, sorry, ambulance bring in the load data function that we created on the top. And inside it was the file path. Say file underscore path. Hold on, let me see if I'm recording because this video is very important. Is it recording? Yeah. Okay, but we'll have to say what is the file path. So just before the object, define the file path. So you say file underscore path equals, and in double quotes, give the name of the file. What is the name of the file? ambulance data dot xlsx. So you say the file path is ambulance data dot xlsx. Does that make sense what we did? We saved the ambulance data file into file path, which is now in the object. And let's just take a look. So you say print ambulance underscore data. Now, if I run this, you'll be able to see the file inside the program. So let's try and run this. Fingers crossed. No errors. So if I run this, okay, what happened? Let's run this. Look at that. Do you see here? The file that we had outside is now inside the code. Does that make sense? So you write this code and then you create this object to look at the file that you've made. Yes or no? It's very important and very interesting if you think about it. Okay, yes or no? Okay, now let's do one example. So now let's do one example. So look at the file here. Look on the screen for a second. Okay, the question is, write down the question is, you need to group by the region. So group by region. Hold on. Okay, let's do group by. Which one is simple? Okay, let's group by the metric ID. Okay, so the question is group by metric ID. And take the average of the values. So group by metric ID and take the average of the values. So it means it needs to combine all of this into one group and take the average of all of this. Okay, similarly, you can do group by region. So all Londons will group together and you take the average of all the values. Is the question clear? So let's see how to do that. So questions like this will be on the final, where you have to group by and find average, or group by and so on. So go back to your class and create a new method or a new function. Let's call it group underscore by underscore metric and average. Something like this. So you know what you're doing. So you're grouping by metric and then taking the average.
So my question is,
Yeah.
when we insert now this formula,
Yeah.
should be always after that, right?
Always after the def, because you're making a method.
Oh,
And then you will call that method to get the output. Okay, always start your method with self. And then give the parameters that you need for this file. So what two things we need for this file, for this method? We need value and we're doing metric. We need the metric column. So you say metric column and comma, we need the value column, something like this. And press the colon. Didn't make sense what we are doing. And then press enter. Okay, and this is how you group by and find the average. So you say return. You always say self.data dot group by. So you say group, automatically group by will come there. And then you open the round bracket. Now, what do we want to group by? The value column or the metric column? So in this round bracket, you say whatever you want to group by. So we want to group by the metric column. And then what do you want to do? Then what column do we want to use to find the average? Value column. So the next column should be in a square brackets. And you say value underscore column. So group by this and then take the value column. Now, what do we want to do with these two? We want to find the. So then you say dot. And right now the average function is called the mean. And you do open and close. Just like we did the data frame function. So write this down. This is the function you need. Group by the metric column and find the average of the values. So just like this, there'll be 5 questions where you'll have to create 5 methods and then get the output. Yeah.
Brackets there for me.
Yeah, there are open and closed brackets. I will give you this code. Once again, I'm just saying this. So do not do chat GPT or anything. Just use this code and just make the changes. Okay, then what you have to do is come to the bottom and use the object to look at the output. So let's see. Can anybody help me how to do that?
So you said what?
Now I want to use this ambulance underscore data object to call that function and do what we need. So let's call it grouped underscore df. Let's make a new data frame. It'll be saved in this data frame. Who wants to do it? You want to do something like this. Look, this line 24. We want to do line 24 here. Somebody help out. Can somebody help out? Ritik? I want to do line 24 here. I want to do line 24 here. What do I write?
What do we want to do? Import,
I want to use this function.
group by metric average.
Yeah, over here. But this is the way to do it. Yeah.
So we do what you showed me before, the average.
But before that, what do? You always have to start with the name of the object. So you say ambulance underscore data. With the help of this object, we call the function. So then you say dot.
Then we want to load data.
No, we want to, what function do we want to use?
The one above you showed me before.
Yeah, what was the name of it?
I don't know. Group by metric.
So you have to say call in the group by metric average function. Does that make sense? And open the brackets. We put the actual column names here. Okay, so what were the column names? Can somebody check the ambulance file? Oh, here it is. So it was metric underscore ID. What was it? Can you open the ambulance data file and tell me the column names? Tell me the name of the columns, please. So let me check. It won't open here. Okay, so in double quotes, you give the name. So I think, what is it? Metric underscore ID, like that. The one before it, where you have OF underscore ID, right? Is the ID capital? Okay, so just like this, you put it there. So this will be the group by metric ID, and then what is the name of the value column? So you say value. Does that make sense? So when you make the object, you have to give the names of the actual columns. Okay, let's look at this now. How do I look at this? So we did the calculation and saved it in grouped underscore df. Now, if I want to look at this, how do I look at this? Print. So all you have to do is print grouped underscore. Yeah. Let's do head so that it doesn't take a lot of time. So just say dot. So we only look at the first few rows. Okay, if you put a number here, say 3, then it will only give you the first 3. Okay, let's run this. So look at this, beautiful. It took the ID and found its average. Took the ID and found its average. Yes or no? Is it too much? No. One last thing. Okay. So, okay, one last thing. Where is it? Okay, now what you want to do is whatever output you got, you want to bring it out in an Excel file. So whatever outputs you made, you want to bring them all out in a Excel file. So I won't type it. I have already written it in this code. So this is the code for it. Okay, so this is the code you need. Let's remove this.
Just one question. You're going to email us with that?
I'm going to upload this code in Blackboard so you can take a look or play around with it. Okay, this is the code you need. This one here. Whatever you have written to go outside in a Excel file. But for this, you need something called as the output underscore file. So just make a note where you've defined the output file path. Also define the output underscore path. So give a name of the output file. So let's call it ambulance output week 13. Yeah, something like this. Output path. Okay, now if I run this, okay, group underscore average is not there because we called it group underscore df. So this should be group underscore df. Okay, make sure there are no errors. Okay, now if I run this, what will happen is it will create a file called as ambulance output underscore week 13. All your outputs will be in there. Is it making sense? So we brought the file in, we did the calculation, and we brought the file out. This will be your final step for the final. Okay, you'll have to bring the file outside again.
So can I ask you something?
Yeah.
How many questions is going to be?
5 or 6.
5 or 6?
Yeah.
And we're going to need to do the same thing for different questions, right?
Same thing, but different questions. That's it. Just change this, change that. That's it. Okay, let's finish this. If I run this, fingers crossed. Output underscore file. Okay, sorry, it's output underscore file. Right? Yeah, output underscore file. So now if I run this, look at this, beautiful. We have a file called as, where did it go? Okay, let's check. Yeah, let's finish it, then you can go. Okay, you guys can try it, but it should create this output file. It's not doing it right now. I don't know why. But it should bring a file outside here. Maybe it's taking a little while, okay, because it's a very big data. But this is how it will bring the output file here. It'll come in like 5 minutes or something.
Can you show me the book so I can check on the last step?
So this is the last step. I'll give you this code. But this is what you need to bring the file outside. Did it give an error? No. Okay, let's see if you can do this much today. Do this much and see if you can bring a file outside. Let's stop here.